talking to Salty and a couple other guys I know, and we're talking about the conversation that I had on Nerd Fights last week about the Peacemaker episode, and I'm like, yeah, go check out my Peacemaker review. And both of them were like, what Peacemaker review? And I realized that I never did one. And I don't know what happens in my life that I'm so busy and I've skipped. And what's funny is I've done other things. I've done other videos, I've done other stuff, I've done a couple of live streams, and so forgive me. This is my Peacemaker episode 3 review. And we'll, I'll do that. What's up, my know-it-alls? All right, we're gonna get into this Peacemaker episode 3 review of season 2. It's one of those, when we got into this, I knew we were eventually have to get to this place. Now, there's obviously a lot of, I am not blind to the discourse happening online. And we'll talk a little bit about that toward the end, but for the most part, I'm just gonna go through this and give you guys my thoughts and impressions. So ultimately, you have to remember this episode pretty much begins and explores the conflict between sort of, I would argue the conflict between action and personal drama. And specifically focusing on Chris's desire for connection and really in contrast to Harcourt's really complicated past. There's clearly an alternate universe, and we're going to be obviously exploring it this season, and that in and of itself is going to challenge Chris, I would argue, with sort of his true desire, which is for things like love, family, acceptance. You know, all the while in the real world, you have Argus sort of preparing to take him down.
After the Metropolis incident took out half the city, these type of threats are Argus' top priority. I have every agent in the Northwest on the way to Smith's home.
And then we get into the part that I was talking about at the top, Harcourt's past. There's a flashback that reveals Harcourt's past relationship specifically to Rick Flag Jr. And for me, that really framed up, I feel like, a lot of what's come in the past. And the whole thing sort of, it highlights her commitment issues. But I don't know, see, they were friends though. They were more, okay, so basically Harcourt and Rick Flag Jr. were friends with benefits. That's the short version. If you watch the podcast that James Gunn puts out immediately after the episodes, he talks a little bit about how apparently him and Jennifer, the people they've known that story beat since before Peacemaker season 1. And primarily it's because you kind of needed it to go in, and now it reframes and recontextualizes a lot of that season 1 tension that she had with him. I would definitely watch season 1 again. Most likely I will right afterwards, just to sort of get an idea for that. Because so you see when she's looking at him being crappy to him in the bar, for instance, that's coming from a very honest place, because essentially this is the guy who ended her best friend, who ended the closest thing to a relationship she had. The only person who actually knew and didn't judge her for her deep, dark, ugly secrets. And that's a really tough pill to swallow in terms of trying to say, okay, we're going to be all good again. We're going to be friends. We're all going to work together. But she's a pro. So she puts all that nonsense away and is like, look, just do your job. Just be capable of doing the job that you know you're supposed to do, and we're fine. And we'll be fine. And that's sort of how that relationship begins. And now we understand a little bit more about where that tension comes from. So then we actually get Chris has an experience. His brother catches him in his bed and he's like, what's going on? I can't, whatever. And he goes and he essentially lives a day in the life.
What the
This is where, for me, we begin to lay the groundwork, rather, that will eventually become what world we think this is. James Gunn calls it Earth 2, but I think that's more of a designator using our Peacemaker's Earth as Earth 1. So saying he's here, this is the other Earth. I don't think he means, for those of you who play at home, DC Comics has always very much had Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3. They've had tons of different Earths by number. It isn't as crazy as, say, Marvel having, like, Earth 616 or whatever, those things which are fun designators based on Marvel Comics universe. But no, this is more literally, there's an Earth Prime, there's an Earth 1, there's an Earth 2. Those things exist, that numbering. This is not that. At least I don't believe that that's the case. But while he's in this in these other place, he makes a reference to like the Kardashians.
Also, why do all my clothes look like the Kardashians' furniture, huh?
Who are the Kardashians?
Seriously?
Now, there's a lot of people who've gone in very deep about what that could possibly mean. I'm a Sliders kid. Okay. Okay. Those of you who remember Sliders, it's literally, the concept is literally same Earth, same year, different dimensions. It's all the different stuff that, so there's any number of places. I didn't immediately go. Everyone else, spoilers, everyone else is going to like, oh, they're a Nazi world or whatever, or some sort of Earth X style world or something, or white supremacist world, whatever. But that's the first clue that something was off, or but to me, it wasn't a huge clue. Because you got to remember, there's a whole bunch of different places and Earths that they could go to. There's Earths where the sky is a different color, or Earths where Superman is actually Superboy. Like there's a whole bunch of other places you can go. Now, the evidence is absolutely going to pile up. But it gets painful for Chris when he has to go meet with that universe's Amelia or Harcourt. And it's because Rick Flag Jr. works there. Oh, yeah. But it's not the Rick Flag Jr. you're thinking.
Hey. What's going on, Chris? You got like some business or something here?
What's up, Rick?
Just asking you.
Chris.
Yeah, I was just asking him what he's doing here. If he's got like something official or something I should be a part of.
No, this one's, and by the way, I was stunned out the rip. We get your boy back again, because when I'm doing these things, I have very few notes. So forgive me. Name is going to go here for the actor because I'm just bad at that right this second. I need to start just putting actors' names in my notes. I understand that. I will do this. But he shows up, super excited to see him again. And in essence, goes, he's in this new universe and he plays this version. In the podcast, they call him Mealy Mouth Rick Flag because he's very like, I mean, you know, if you, whatever works for you, it's okay. And wonderful. And seeing that actor portray that style of character, I actually really dug.
Chris wanted to talk.
Just wanted to talk, huh? Like about what, dude?
And so it's seeing that both of them, in fact, play very homely versions, both Harcourt and both Jennifer and this other actor who plays him. It really was like, oh, okay, you guys are kind of they're having fun with the idea, and I think you should. Because at the end of the day, this is probably about as deep as the multiverse should ever really be getting. Like everybody wants to go like full blown, like it's this and colliding in universes. And sometimes it's just, hey, we're going to pass through one door into another and cause trouble. Anybody who remembers the Golden Age Flash, that's what they did all the time. Or maybe it was Silver Age to Golden Age, whatever. It was Jay Garrick to Barry Allen. They would cross over tons and just help each other with adventures once in a while. It wasn't always a major thing, the universe is colliding and ending. When Chris talks to Harcourt, we begin to start understanding a little bit different about their relationship. The gist that I'm getting is that he sort of cheated on her at some point, or at the very least, the Chris from that universe cheated on her. And it's funny, we often think of these things in binaries, kind of like it's like good, bad, or even like Star Trek, like mirror, mirror. It's got to be everyone who's good is evil and everyone who's evil is good. And they kind of, I feel like they're doing something like that, in that all the people who are jerks so far, Peacemaker's dad, Harcourt, are really sweet. And then you get this shift over to when he goes to the Argus, by the way, this is my second clue. There's nobody of color there at all. And if you remember the TAC team they send into Peacemaker's house and everything else, there were a lot of different variations on people. There's no Economos there, which I found interesting. And at least that we've seen so far. There's definitely no Adebayo at the moment. You find out more and more that Chris from that universe is not a good person. He does drugs, he cheats, he lies, he whatever else. And that's a really part of the relationship that they're building, the dichotomy. And the thing is, even he is like, man, I think that's going to potentially start opening up like, oh man, I suck here as well. It's a wonderful, but it's the world he wanted. So it's almost like, well, this one's going to suddenly show up and try to be a better person. I don't know. It is a wonderful moment where at first they're at Harcourt and Peacemaker talking. There's an event that happens. Some seemingly terrorists try to take over a place. This becomes the second of many clues. So in this whole scene, Chris essentially decides to take upon himself. He doesn't have a helmet, doesn't have a costume, is nothing. He has the Peacemobile, the Peace Cycle, which I love. The Peace Cycle is amazing. And so he goes and he takes this entire building out. And he's busting up fools and ending dudes left and right. So after bodying half of those bad guys, his brother shows up and just obliterates through a helicopter. One, the chaos and mayhem, everyone is applauding, okay? First, to me, sign that something's wrong. Second, I went frame by frame, much like everybody else, and I too did not see people of color in this thing, which leads me to believe that also I have determined at some level, I do believe this is some sort of a world like that. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be like the cheesy, corny version of it, or if it's going to be something much deeper. The cheesy, corny version, everyone sort of agrees would be the Earth X world, because Earth X is sort of, it's like considered Nazi world or whatever. And the CW show did that really well. So the fact that they're going to actually kind of play a little bit with some of those elements, I do not in any way, shape, or form think we're going to get Dark Superman or Soviet Superman or whatever, Earth X Superman, super person. I don't think we're going to get any of that stuff. But seeing this universe in light of what it is, I think will be fun. And I think they're going to do a really good job with that. Especially when you find out like that to me will be the big tipper, where it's like, oh, this is going to be terrible. And the thing is, they do sit on moments to make you think certain things might be the case. The Kardashian joke, they sit on a little long. So James Gunn is definitely threading the needle, but at the same time, they're being, I don't want to say blatant, but they're definitely not, they're not taking it slowly in terms of the Easter eggs and stuff that they're dropping. But at the end of saving everybody, Chris gets that moment. He gets that absolute moment where he gets to, everyone loves him.
Best dimension ever.
And it's like, oh my gosh, this is exactly where I want to be for the rest of my life, forever and ever and ever, amen. He has to, it's essentially, he wants to try to get with this Harcourt who's more amenable to the idea. And so they talk about sort of thinking about it. We do get a Easter egg, Sons of Liberty, who is the group, the terrorist group that attacks. Sons of Liberty is definitely a group of characters from DC. And I thought that was interesting to sort of play into. So let me go back to the other world. In the other world, Adebayo is having a conversation with Harcourt, and Sheev is the one who's like, hey, what's going on with you guys? Isn't that? And Harcourt's like, no, there's no chance, nothing like that, whatever. Rick Flag's ready to go because Chris has now opened up that portal thing twice. And if he's using unlicensed or unapproved dimensional tech, that's considered like a arrest you for the rest of your life crime over there. So so that's really where we're coming to. The episode ends with Chris. I assume he's going home either to get Eagly or to like, yeah, we're moving. I'm out of here. I'm gonna say my goodbyes and I'm gone. But at the same time, Argus is on their way. They've all unpacked and they're headed in. There's this funny moment when they were all kind of getting loaded up where they're trying to attack. Economos because like, how come you didn't tell us he had a killer eagle or whatever? He's like, what are you talking about? You saw it. I told you. He's like, you called it a duck.
Blame him. I told him about the eagle.
You told me it was a duck.
Why would I say an eagle is a duck?
Trying to use my disability against me. Is it funny? Yeah, very.
I feel like the bird blindness joke is going to get old real quick because it's kind of already gotten old and we barely heard anything about it. And I'm like, it's kind of old now. But either way, I'm sure Tim Meadows and them are going to milk it for what it's worth. But yeah, so there you go. Now you know. And always have the battle. You have to, you know it all yourself. So what's the Noel Index score for this episode of Peacemaker, episode 3 of season 2? I'm going to give this episode a pretty steady 8 out of 10.
Best dimension ever.
It's a solid episode. It isn't anything special. It's connecting the rest of the story. It didn't stand on its own. You obviously need what comes before it, and you definitely need what's going to come after it, I hope. And so we'll see exactly where it goes for that. But for me, that's the best score I can give it at present in the way it sits. And I think it's a respectable score for sure. I like the episode. I like where it's going, and I can't wait to see it. Let me know what you guys think below in the comments. Am I right? Am I wrong? Did you like the show? Are you sort of waiting in anticipation? What world do you think he's on? I would really love to have that discussion. All right, guys, I'll talk to you again real soon. Never forget, everyone loves a know-it-all. Bye, guys.